Christmas was coming, and in the living room sat Meg, Joe, Beth, and Amy March. Lately, the girls had been upset about their wealth as they have been struggling. With Christmas around the corner, the girls were hoping to think of something to brighten their Christmas this year. After much consideration, they decided to purchase a gift for their mother, Marmee. As Marmee walks in, she carries a letter from their father, who is currently away in the Civil War. Though the letter is frightening, it encourages them to have a more positive outlook at life and recognize that their financial problems are not something they should be as concerned about. This encourages them to simply be happy that they are even alive. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all the girls were cuddled up tight asleep. The next morning, the girls woke up to books under their pillows. Marmee, a very selfless mother and woman, encourages the girls to give their breakfast to a less fortunate family named the Hummels. The Marches' neighbors saw the girls doing this and were so impressed that although they did not know the girls, they wanted to reward them in some way. Later on that day, Mr. Lawrence sent over a feast for the girls and their mother. After, Meg and Joe were invited to a New Year's party at Meg's friend's house, Sally Gardner. Throughout the party, Joe stands in the corner of the room where she sees Laurie, a boy who stays with Mr. Lawrence next door. As Meg is dancing, she sprains her ankle. Laurie then takes her sisters home. The Marches were not looking forward to returning to reality after the holiday. Joe visits Laurie while she was sick and met Mr. Lawrence. Accidentally, Joe insults a painting of Mr. Lawrence while right in front of him. With Mr. Lawrence's personality being very jokingly, he embraces it and they become friends. Soon after, Mr. Lawrence meets all of the sisters. However, his favorite of the sisters was Beth. He decides he wishes to give her his granddaughter's piano, who has passed away. Girls are all very outgoing and adventurous. Amy was caught trading lines while at school and was hit by her teacher as punishment for her actions. Miss March was unhappy of punishment to her daughter and decided to take her out of school. Joe does not let Amy go to the theater with her. Amy was upset and burns Joe's manuscript. Out of anger, Joe nearly lets Amy drown while ice skating. Meg attends her friend Annie Moffat's party. Everyone is all just at their best when Meg realizes appearance is not everything. While she's at the party, she hears people think she is trying to marry Laurie for his money. Marches then form the Pickwick Club, where they write a family newspaper. During the spring, Joe brings Laurie into one of the club meetings and he becomes a member. At the beginning of June, the Marches decide to neglect their housework. To end off the lazy week, Marmee takes a day off as well. The girls spoil dinner, however, it is left about. The family received a telegram one day with some news that left them very upset. The telegram said that Mr. March was sick in the hospital in Washington, D.C. He goes to help and care for him as Joe sells her hair to help the family pay for the trip. Later, Mr. Brooke, Laurie's tutor, falls in love with Meg. Though Joe is not very fond of it, Mr. Brooke and Meg were engaged soon after. 3 years passed. Mr. March returns home from war, and Laurie is almost out of school. Mr. Brooke and Meg get married and move in together. Joe is able to get her novel published, although she was told she has to cut it down from her publishers. Meg begins to struggle keeping the house tidy as she gives birth to twins named Demi and Daisy. Joe starts to think Beth loves Laurie. Attempting to get away from Laurie's love for her, Joe moves to New York to give Beth a chance to get his love. While in New York, Joe meets Professor Bear, a poor German language instructor. Professor Bear discourages Joe from writing sensationalist stories. She then takes his advice and finds a simpler writing style. As Joe returns home, she was proposed to by Laurie and turns him down. Beth later passes away. Amy and Laurie meet together in France and fall in love. They then get married before they return home. Joe wishes for Professor Bear to come for her. Fulfilling her wish, she does, and they marry a year later. Amy and Laurie have a daughter named Beth. She is ill. Joe inherits Plumfield, Aunt March's house, and decides to turn it into an all-boys boarding school. The novel ends by the family all together happily, thankful for each other and their blessings.